Conversionomics is a powerful tool that allows you to clean, edit, manipulate, automate data. In this video, I'm going to show you a few steps and helpful tips to walk through setting up your project, sources, building a query, pushing out an export, and automating this process. For this purpose, I'm going to jump into a project that's called a restaurant demo. This view allows you to look at multiple accounts, multiple clients, multiple projects that you're working on. And then once you click into that, you start off with your sources view. In this tab, what we're looking at is a number of different APIs and data sources that have already been set up, or CSV and email sources. As an example, if you were to set up your first new source, you click this orange button in the top. I can label it a demo test, and then choose what type of source that I would be using, whether it's a CSV or other APIs that we've set up and tapped into some of the partners that are available. Once you have your source set up, for example, in this AdWords source, you can choose a number of different fields, whether those are dimensions or metrics. On this page, you can see that a number of loads have been completed. All of these are automatically loaded, whether it's every day. It looks like these are daily sources. Clicking into the settings, you can see the connection that is set up, the type of report that's being used, and the fields, whether these are dimensions or metrics, such as day, campaign, conversions, ads, or ad groups. Depends on the granularity that you need in these sources. You can choose and select fields or click into and see what other fields are available. On the top right, you'll see some of these settings. These are set to auto load every day and pull in a full reload. That's important for a lot of different reasons. For example, an attribution window when looking at some of these conversions or some of the Google AdWords connections. Once you have your sources set up, for example, across Google Ads, Google Analytics, Bing, once these are set up, your next step is going to go into the query stage. Looking at this restaurant pacing query, I've pulled in data from a number of different sources that I've set up, from CSVs to the APIs, and I've matched all of these across a date field, as well as a campaign field, and I use this in order to use my cost that's pulling in from all these different sources. These fields are pulled in through an API, and I'm actually able to use a SQL expression to manipulate and transform some of the data that's coming in either too high or too low, and to adjust it to match the other platforms that are pulling in data. This column, I'm hard coding a source with a static value as a string to make sure that I can easily reference which of these sources that I'm pulling in at my query stage. Lastly, on the right, you'll see some of these lookups, which we'll touch on a later video, but these allow you to easily transform and manipulate these campaigns that are coming in with hard-coded text that you want to be able to transform and clean and look at it at a much simpler view. The third step after you have your query set up to combine your sources and clean the data is your export. From your query, you connect this to one of the exports that's available. For example, BigQuery allows us to connect to Google Data Studio and provide powerful visualizations and tables. Once you have your export set up, you can push this every day using an automated batch load or the Run Export button here. Once you have updated your data sources, once you've updated your queries, the last step in order to get this data live and exported to either an Excel document or a Google Data Studio report or Tableau or Power BI, these batch loads will run every day or manually run using this Run Export button that will allow it to push your data out. The last step is the Automation tab. This tab allows you to create batch loads and automatically run sources, queries, and exports every morning, for example here, at 5 o'clock. Once you click into one of these runs, you can see that all of these sources have loaded successfully, as well as the queries that are dependent on those sources and the exports pushing out to update your visualizations and dashboards. Now, this is key in order to make sure that these reports will run and update for stakeholders internally, externally, or yourself for KPI monitoring or anomaly detection. Going back to the Automation tab, you can see that all of these will run either automatically or manually. If you have a query or a source that you need to update on the fly for a quick ad hoc report, these batch loads will get created using dependent queries or sources pushing live through the export. That's a quick example of some of the capabilities of Conversionomics for sources, queries, and exports. Hope this gets you started in terms of building your first project. If you have any questions, let us know. Chat button or help on the website.